Hey guys, welcome to a fresh video here on the channel. As you would have seen by the thumbnail, this is a preview. This is the first preview for 2025. It's not a real match, it's not even a preseason match, it's a match simulation against St Kilda, and it all kicks off this Saturday at Icon Park at about 10 a.m. or 11 a.m, so we're told. 10 a.m. is when the gates will open, and 11 a.m. we will then take part in a match simulation against the Saints. It says here 4 20-minute quarters, extended benches, and really this is going to be the first time we get to watch the guys play against opposition that is not themselves. So very exciting, and it marks the beginning of the real season incoming. We have an official practice match the week after against the GWS Giants on the 28th. And then we're into it, round one. It's very fast approaching, and with that comes the natural excitement. The city of Melbourne is about to get its spark again, and I like touching on that every year, and that's very important. But when it comes to this weekend, I should say, against the Saints, there's a few things on my mind, and I'm sure it's the same for you, and we'll use this video to get a bit of a pulse check on all things. So ultimately, what do you want to see this week from a practice match or a match simulation against the Saints? I think first and foremost, can we tick the box of getting through this Saturday unscathed with no injuries? That's the main thing. There's a few positional changes that have been flagged for quite some time now that are happening. And then there's also this next layer of evolution with the list that's happening, which we haven't yet seen in match play. We've heard about the young kids coming through. We've heard about how they're driving the standards. We've obviously come off an off season where we've lost a few experienced players who have been really a part of the first choice team for a while, or in theory they were a part of the first choice team for a while, and for whatever reason, whether it was injury or actually for the most part it was injury, they weren't able to play. So now we have opportunities that are coming through for this new group of players, whether it's guys who have already featured in the side who are now taking on more responsibility. I'm thinking of guys like Lockie Cowan, I'm thinking of guys like Ollie Hollands, both who have now had some solid games under their belt, some solid experience, and are ready to take a more refined role. And, we're not quote unquote carrying these types anymore. They've had their experience and they're ready to start impacting. Then there's quite a few players in the group who I think, we haven't seen, and I'm excited to see them. Billy Wilson, Harry Lemmy. We've seen Ashton Moyer, but only a real little glimpse. So really just for me, I'm excited to see how far have they come. Do they look ready to impact in a season? Are they ready to start playing 2-3 games in a year, or are they ready to start playing 10, 11 plus 12 games in a year? You could probably throw Jackson Binns into that group as well. We have seen a little bit of him, but we haven't seen much at all, and there's a lot of promise. Then there's obviously the youngsters that have come through the system, Camperelli boys. I'll touch on one shortly who's still a little injured, but Jagger Smith, a lot of excitement around him getting a pick 3, and now we get to see what he's made of and what it's all about. He'll no doubt be pushing for selection for round 1, so you're going to get the best effort from him, and so that's exciting. And then with the older heads, I'm not too worried about the older heads and the more experienced guys. I think once you have 5 or 6 years in the system, it's just about managing the body, getting through healthy and getting to that start line at round 1. So I think I know what I'm going to get from our senior players at the top end. The leaders, Cripps, Wiedering, Sard, these guys. They don't have many concerns there. But yeah, just really excited. Firstly to get home. I'm coming home on Thursday morning, and then Saturday morning, Icon Park. Everything's back to normal, and life really is just normal. What we've been waiting for. The footy's our compass. We go a little bit mad with it. We go a little bit mad without it. And then it returns and we find that balance. Now, when it comes to our group injury update, may as well go through that now. I'm filming this as a preview for the Saints match simulation, but also we've just had an injury update. Firstly, the news came through from John Ralph that Charlie Curnow had another minor procedure to his knee to remove a screw. my first reaction was like, fuck, like really? He's such a sensitive player because of how good he is and how good he can be for the group. And ultimately, I mean, I think the best version of the team and the team that hopefully can win the whole thing has Charlie Curnow in it. So the club then released their own update on this, which I think was very necessary as soon as possible. But basically, Charlie, he's on track to feature in the opening rounds of the season. So previously, the rhetoric was that he would still be available for round one. Now it's opening rounds of the season. The procedure allowed for the removal of a screw that is no longer required from an old knee injury, which the club was able to identify as the cause of a small level of discomfort for Curnow over the last week. So we did get that news that he left the open training session a little early with some knee or leg awareness or soreness. Okay, great. We found the issue, we found the solution. I guess my question for that is, how many screws does he have in his knee? Are they all necessary now, given that he obviously has old knee injuries? And will he need to have certain screws in his knee forever? Or has he grown out of the need for screws? Just seemed peculiar to me. I've never had screws in my knee. I don't know what that means or what it looks like, but obviously bad history with knee injuries only a few years ago. We didn't have him for a while, so hopefully this isn't another layer of news which works against Curnow's 2025 season. Hopefully this is going to help him get through the year, and yeah, it's a fingers crossed proposition, as I said in the last video about him. So there's that. His availability is rounds 1 or 2, it says here. I'm just going to assume that means round 2. Why risk him? Why say rounds 1 or 2? Just put it round 2. Fuck it. He'll be back training and he'll be in the full group in the coming weeks, according to the report here on the club website. Jack Silvani, he's in full training. He's available. Sam Walsh, he's also back into full training, which is very positive. He's 1 to 2 weeks away. Ben Camporelli on a modified program with the ankle, says here he's available in 4 weeks. He's recovering from the ankle infection, which was picked up early. He will integrate into full training over the next month. Matt Duffy integrating back into full training 3 to 4 weeks away. And then Rob Monaghan with the groin, his availability to be determined the week of round 1. So that's a little under a month away. He's managing groin soreness and will look to build up his training load. So apart from those guys, we know Nick Newman is ruled out for the season. There's also been some chatter that he may be available for a miraculous return later in the year. So we'll see what happens there. And then Alex Cincotta with his hip. His aim is to be available early in the 2025 season. So to be honest, it's not the worst injury list to have at this point in the year. You've got one guy who's ruled out for the year, which is awful. Maybe I'm just used to having at least one person ruled out for an entire season in the preseason. So shattered for Nick, but it's not too bad. Most, if not all of them, are available within the next month, it seems here. And then of those, obviously Charlie Curnow, Sam Walsh at the top end of that. They're two of our, I would say, 5 or 6 most important players on the list right now. So they are very important, but they are not long-term injuries. So that's that. And ultimately just ready to get stuck into it, ready to have it all back, ready for life to resume. As I said earlier, I'm looking forward to seeing who's progressed, which of these young guys, which of these guys that we haven't seen much of is ready to take the next level and become more reliable, whether it's guys that have played already, that are taking a more senior role, or whether it's guys that haven't played at all that want to fill a spot in the side and lock themselves in. I think those are the signs that I'm looking forward to seeing this Saturday. And also just being back home at Icon Park. It's been a while. It's been a hot minute. So that's where my head's at. What about you? What are you doing this Saturday? Are you going to watch the match simulation? What do you think about what's happening with the injuries? Where's your head at with everything right now? Let's chat about it in the comments. Don't forget, there will be fan cams as well afterwards. I'll decide on a time closer to Saturday, but we'll basically be going down to check out the match simulation, and then we might do a little return session of fan cams for those of you who are around on Saturday afternoon, and just chat about what we see. So I look forward to it. Can't wait to be home. Can't wait to be stuck right in the thick of it again. We'll go from there.